Dear Leon C., aka Morpheus, I am a recovering patient from a certain illness. And while in the hospital, the doctors said that there was a slim chance for me to survive. And they have explained that it was a miracle that I was healed from this illness that I was going through. And not many people have survived. This illness is a common illness that a lot of people have dealt with, such as cancer. And I was going through several things that I dare not say just yet. I have listened to what you said, and I understand the meaning behind understanding that religion is an indoctrination. I am on the fence here because I have studied and I have researched what you have said to be true. But it conflicts with the very fact that I was healed with a slim chance. How can I not say that that wasn't the grace of God? How can I not say that it was the universe who chose me to survive that situation? All respects and love, and I do enjoy your channel, and you speak nothing but the truth, and I can hear the love of the people in your voice. Although sometimes you try to mask it, I hear that you really care about people and children. So I am a dedicated supporter of you, and I would like to hear from you quite soon about this situation. The question is, when you discuss that there aren't very many miracles, but it's based on physics and science, and that we transform those sciences and our physicality into a delusional mindset and accenting it to a higher being. What do you say to this? Well, here I am, Leon C. He just told you, aka Morpheus. That was a very simple email, and I did my best not to chop it up, so it was exactly what it was. And I want to read it slowly so you can understand what he was saying. I didn't want to mess up anything. One thing that we're going to have to understand and understand, that I've told you before, and I will tell you again, that the superiority of that entity which have created you, life, possibility, and existence, is alive and well. But it's not in the way that we have been taught in our human frailty, whereas our understanding is limited based on the indoctrinated programs that have been traditionally forced, dogmatically pressed, oppressed, slavished, unevaluated, and spoon-fed to us since we were children. So therefore, you need to understand and understand that you have to seek out the higher power outside of your indoctrinated programming, or what the pastors told you, or what others tell you via grandma, grandpa, parents, so forth, so on. Television, movies, and music. The one thing that gets us to believe, which is believe, is emotions. Emotions is a tyrannical thing. It is a great persuader. It is tantamount to destroying cities. It's tantamount to making judgment calls. It is the pinnacle of what a lot of choices are made off of, when otherwise logic should stand strong. Most times our emotional partitions to ourselves is easily manipulated because it either feels good or it feels uncomfortable in whatever information that we are getting into. Oftentimes, dealing with certain indoctrinated programs and people, they know how to manipulate your emotions. And when your emotions is being manipulated to make a decision, all right, you are being manipulated. You are being deceived, and you are being concocted. You are being pushed. You are being swiggled or snaked into something that actually requires your thinking and your logical senses. Now, as to my emailer here, I've been there and I've done that. I have been in that position many times. And it is clearly understood that when you are in a situation of survival where death and life is on the line, and you make it to that pinnacle in that place, you are the survivor. You're the one out of the million. Now, I appreciate your approach. I am very grateful that you didn't try to come up with an argument and try to debate me on the subject. That only shows just how mature you are, and it shows that you have listened to my other audio. This is a good example for a lot of people who's listening to me on this audio right now. It's a good example of when you have a different experience, when you think differently than what us red pill providers or other people are giving unto you, it's always best for you to do your research first, meaning it will be better for you to listen to us completely, listen to our other audios, listen to us from A to Z before you come up with your analysis. Now, the problem is some of the audio is already pre-made. It's already there way ahead of time before you got a chance to listen to what men like myself are saying. And you only have that opportunity to listen to one video or two videos, and you think you know everything. Okay. But you are at a loss because there's right now, as I speak, 60 to 64 something videos. That's a lot when you think about it. That's a lot. Okay. But the unfortunate thing as well is you wasn't there when I created the first audio or the second audio, and you was consistent. You was somewhere else, you was somewhere else in the country. You was sitting down in the church. Maybe you was at work. Maybe you were just talking to someone. You wasn't there. Okay. You missed out on the very few videos. So you could not follow the lesson. You could not follow my lesson plan 1 to lesson plan now. Okay. It's vital to be at this place here. This is why I discuss with you that you have to look at my other audios to understand what I'm saying now. This is like the 60 something video. Okay. You can't debate me on these current things. You can't debate. Let's just say, for example, let's just be simple with this. Let's say that I made 10 videos, right? And on the 11th video, you listen to Morpheus, right? And you hear a subject, you're upset, you're mad, you want to debate, you're feeling uncomfortable, list goes on, you want to talk to me, you want to email me and give me expletives. Okay. And you want to go based on that subject alone, but you cannot. It is almost merely impossible to do that if you have not went back to video number 1, because first of all, you have to understand why I'm speaking the way that I'm speaking. You have to know my angle. You have to know who is Leon Leonci, aka Morpheus, okay, with his intentions of helping people. Okay, and what is his angle? What is his genre? What is his speech? What is his subject? All right, what is his angle? And when you pick up all those facts, then you get to the latest audio. You are immediately aware that my intentions isn't of evil. My intentions is not to be a different dogma. My intentions is not to create a new religion. My intentions is not to destroy America. My intentions is nothing but good 150%. If there ever is a 150%. Okay. So therefore, this gentleman understands, as he just explained to you, that I do have some compassion, and he said he can hear it in my voice, which sometimes I do try to mask. Sometimes I do try my best to calm myself down. I get energized. There are times when I talk about life, when I talk about children, when I talk about being deceived, when I talk about how America's going downhill, I get angry. There are so many things I want to say that I can't say on YouTube as Morpheus, that if you met me face to face, you will really think I'm an angry man. But because I'm passionate about people, I'm passionate. Okay, a long time ago, in my martial arts training and in my teaching and advising and stuff like that, there were several people that came up to me and asked me how come I'm not a police officer? How come I didn't decide to run for president? How come I'm not in the lead of the potential of having the ability to influence a vast amount of people and make a heavier change? Okay, my response was and is my existence and my function of life have taken a different turn. I've been given a different mission in my life. I've been given a different calling besides those usual programmings of being an effective individual in our environment. But that doesn't mean I'm less passionate. That doesn't mean I won't save anyone from a fire. That doesn't mean if I see someone hurting, I won't help them and provide for them. That doesn't mean I will not provide a road and a path for children in their future. That doesn't mean I will not stand up in a committee and be a spokesman and a spokesperson and create not systems, but create programs, okay, that will give people, our individuals and children, an open platform to succeed even greater and help and install more help and support for parents who are struggling. That doesn't mean I wouldn't do that. So yes, the passion is there. Yes. And again, I do try to mask it, but sometimes it's hard. I want to say something and I can't say it. I really want to put my claws in it and rip it apart like a lion and just chew it up and eat it, but I can't. So I do the best that I can do. So on that note, it's a good example of what he just said. When you do your diligence and listen, you will find the facts. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. And I do have my condolences and concern for other content creators and who receive negative rhetoric from those particular individuals who only watch them one video or one day or overnight, but yet they never was a follower from day one. It's true that when you are in school, high school, college, so forth, that when you miss first grade, or if you miss the lesson plan that began in the first part of the year, and now you just now sign up for the classroom and you're there, and the session only has 2 more months to go before graduation or a SIT test or some important test, you're not going to win. You're not going to succeed. You got to start the class all over again. So it'll be best for those and you people to go to stage 1 first, even if the video or audio was made at an earlier time. Okay. And it's outdated. That doesn't mean the information's outdated. That doesn't mean it's not true. That doesn't mean it's not going to help you. Number 1 video or audio is going to help you just as much as the current video and audio. You just have to take the diligence and the time to put aside your extracurricular useless activities or things that you are doing that isn't significant to your soul, your mind, and your spirit, and listen. Put on the headset when you're working. Put on the headset when you're chopping wood. Put on the headset when you're going to the gym. Put on the headset when you are at school. Every 5 minutes you get, put on the headset while you're laying down in bed. Put on the headset while you're driving. Put it on your speaker system while you're driving. Every day, every second of the day, when you get the chance to, you will find yourself engulfing at least 54 videos or 54 audios that Morpheus have created for you. And therefore, you will be up to date, because I'm not going to stop creating audios. I'm going to continue. Okay? Even if there's nothing posted that will be new in, let's say, a few days or a week or something like that, that's because I'm giving you a chance to catch up. Did you hear what I said? If I stall a video or an audio, that's because I'm giving you a chance to catch up. Take that week and that time to listen to the other audios and video, and you will catch up. Then I will put out something new to make sure that you are on point, because just like school, no child left behind. Okay. No adult left behind. All right. So again, even when you donate your patronism, your support, and purchase a book, you are still going to be up to date. So don't have any fear of that. Now, getting back to the subject of this gentleman, I understand what he's going through, because, again, I've been there myself. I understand, because it isn't something that you can just walk away from when others have fallen where you have succeeded. And yes, all you can do is give thanks to your interpretation of God. All you can do is say, and some of you may say this, I don't say it, but you'll say, "Thank you, Lord," or "Hallelujah," or if it wasn't for the mercy of God. Okay, I understand. Trust me, Morpheus is right next to you. I was in your shoes a long time ago. But there is something that we overlook, and I don't want to do that, because as a supporter of people, as a supporter of you, I don't want to give the trophy to something that I cannot see or I cannot feel. I'm going to give you an example with that in just a moment. Okay. I don't want to give credit to the wrong entity. I do not want to be this person who is so lost and so in a space bubble where I forget that mom suffered. I forget that grandma suffered once upon a time. I forget that it was grandpa or dad who would get up 7 o'clock in the morning and work till he was blood tired just for me to have clothes on my back. I don't want to forget that it was my ancestors in the past that fought wars, that was hurt, that struggled, that suffered, that did everything that they could, whether traditionally wrong or right, but they did the best that they could to make sure that I am here today. I don't want to give that credit to the wrong person or the wrong entity. I don't want to give that credit to the wrong idea and be misled into a mindset of illusion. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to get back to the subject. I recently visited one of my students. All right. I wanted to check up on them and make sure that their homework was going quite well. All right. I promised her that I was going to come back and see if she remembered the lesson plan of what the teachers have given her. The teachers have been giving her packages of homework. All right. And in the homework packages, there was always it was a thick package. I've actually had to make a video of how thick the package is. I thought it was going to be impossible to finish it. I thought it was going to take all my time. I thought I was going to have to extend my hours there, okay, just to get her to finish her homework. But we managed to get through that packet that the teacher gave her. But I promised her I was going to come back to see if she remembered anything. You see how I operate? That's what must be done, because children forget. They go outside, they start playing, they especially on the weekend, they want to blow bubbles outside, play with balloons, and so forth and so on. They will forget the lesson plan that you have given them Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And so the teacher's not there to give it to them, especially if they're at home or they're in lockdown. Okay. They can't go nowhere. So I realize that the teacher can't reach them like she wants to or like he wants to. Yes, you got to include men. Men are teachers as well. All right. They deserve respect as well. All right. They are out there. Just like there are male nurses. Don't forget about us men. And so I say, okay, I need to apply myself the same as any teacher would. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to give her a test. I'm going to see if she remembers anything that I have taught her. That way she can stay polished. That way she can remember. That way when she gets back into the school, all right, her mind will still be concentrated on learning and she's not going to forget the lesson plan and fall behind. So I'm standing there in the four-way of the door entrance and begin asking her questions about her homework to see if she remembered things. So I'm throwing out random questions, random mathematical equations, spelling words. Half of them she was remembering. She smiled because she remembered the lessons that I gave her, the past week, past month, so forth and so on. So I was feeling kind of proud. Good job. So immediately she asked me a question because she was curious. Children are always curious, right? So she asked me this. She said, Mr. C, do you believe in gesture? You can imagine the face expression I had when she said that, but I was calm about it. First thing I wanted to know is where she got that from. Of course, how did she come upon this sort of thinking? Okay. So she explained that every now and then her and her parents, they go to church, obviously, right? They get the usual spoonful of indoctrination, and I didn't want to directly talk to her because I didn't want her to receive my knowledge too soon. I'm not going to say nothing to the child that the mother and dad is going to think that I'm trying to brainwash their child. So I don't say anything. My response is very simple, very, very simple. Instead of answering her question, I was like, okay, so I said, what makes do you believe in gesture? What makes you think that gesture is real? Okay, so I'm asking her questions. She says something like, gesture's everywhere. He's right there standing next to you. And I got my hands in my pocket. And of course, I got to think at her level. That's what makes me an awesome tutor and mentor, because I get at the child's level where she can understand me and I can understand them. Okay, so I look to the side and pretend I'm looking around like, okay. I said, I guess he is standing next to me. And I indicate where the emptiness is, where the dry air is, with my face expression. I guess he is there. Okay. And I said, okay, so what else? What makes you, what makes you ask this question? And before she began to ask another question, children are amazing. There's something else. She asked another question, which pretty much, she said, is Jesus alive or dead? Again, I didn't ask the question. I didn't, directly tell her what I really feel. I throw it back at her again. I say, so what do you think? What have you been taught? What do you know about this? What have they told you about this Jesus dude, right? And she said, well, Jesus is, I just heard Jesus is God. I'm like, okay. All right. I said, well, besides him being next to me, I'm, looking over here in this empty space. I'm standing here. I say, okay, so, where's Jesus? I'm looking around, I'm playing at her level now. Okay. Now I'm not being the teacher now I'm being the child just like her. And I'm looking around. Okay. Where is the Jesus? Pretending, playing games with her. Where is the Jesus? He said, Jesus is dead. She said, Jesus is dead. And I'm thinking, okay, how do you know? I'm like, how do you know? Still asking her questions, not brainwash, just letting her speak. I'm not speaking. He said, well, he died on the cross. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. And she gave me that funny smirk that kids are smart kids. They know when you're not trying to be direct with them sometimes. So she tilted her head to the left. She's like, so you don't think that God exists? You don't think God exists, do you? All right, inquisitive now, and I'm thinking, okay, I can answer your question. I can stand here and I can deal with this. This is okay. All right, and I just smile and say, what makes you think that? Because I tread on the surface. Okay, I tread between safe and safe. Okay, so I'm like, okay, what makes you think that? And she's like, well, I can just tell. I can just tell that you just don't believe. Jesus is up. He's in the sky. I'm like, oh, I'm looking up like, okay, he's in the sky. Yeah. She said, oh, you just don't see him. You just don't see him, but he's in the sky. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. No response in return, not trying to even get into that. Okay. Because it probably it wouldn't make a difference anyway. It wouldn't make a difference anyway. I've learned a long time ago that that's how children start. That's how your misguidance begin. That's how you begin to grow up in this idea. Okay, in space monsters, the Bigfoot, and for some of you, aliens, but there's different types of aliens, although they are here anyway. But anyway, that's how you end up delusional most times. That's how you end up with these imaginations that throw you away from reality and looking at things for what they are, because they start young and your parents drag you into it because it's just a thing to do. Because your grandparents tell you, your mommy tell you, then you start doing it. Then you think I'm not going to challenge it. It's just what it is. And what tickles me is the fact that I'm standing there and I'm looking at this dry air, but she's looking directly at me. She explains, is okay, well, Jesus is everywhere, but I'm standing right there in her face. I'm standing there with my hands in my pocket, looking at her big eyes, right? But there's nothing standing next to me, nothing there. Okay. But air, but just emptiness. But of course I kept that to myself. So this emailer brings this memory back to me, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit something in detail for some of you people. Okay. Oftentimes, and it goes back to what I promised, going back to the subject. Oftentimes we give credit to the wrong people. Oftentimes we are always praying. When we are saved from a hot fire, we are saved from chemotherapy. When we are saved from, when our diabetes are controlled by certain, insulin shots, insulin, devices, insulin pills, insulin, administrations, and all sources and all kind. When we lose weight, when we have a heart attack or when we have stroke, all right, and the real gods come into the room. The real gods come into the room, and they have what you need on their tray. They have what you need in their hands. They have what you need in their mind, in their learning, in their teaching. The nurse have what you need with her kindness, with her dedication to you, with her syringe and with her gloves, her glove in hand and her white suit. And she goes to the bathroom, she sanitizes her hand, her face and stuff like that. She comes out. The boss will appear in a few minutes. The one will appear in a few minutes. The one you're looking for will appear in a few minutes. And you're just sitting down in the hospital bed. You're looking at this brown door, you got a little pain on your side, and you got you got the tubes in your nose. Okay. And you're comfortable, right? And the door is closed, and you still praying, you still thinking, oh God, help me. I need some deliverance. Help me. You're just sitting there. You're sitting there. God, help me. The next thing you know, all of a sudden you hear something. Mr. John? Mr. John, I'm coming in, Mr. John. Are you okay? Are you dressed? And you groggy. Yeah. Come on in, nurse so-and-so, or doctor so-and-so, or Mr. so-and-so. Yeah. Here I come. And I open up the door. Okay? And they're standing right there in the doorway, and you got a Bible next to you. You're still praying for something that's not there. So you're still praying for emptiness. You're still looking at your crucifix around your throat. You're still looking at the flowers or the letters that are sitting on your desk, but the nurse and doctor standing right there in front of you. They're standing there with some of them hands in their lab coat, like what I do, just standing there like, are you doing well? You doing fine? Okay. Let me check your pulse. Let me check. Are you okay? You need your pillow pluff. You need to be, you okay? Let me check you over here. Let me check your arm. Let me check the Band-Aid. Let me check your head. Let me check the tubes. And they start checking you. They doing everything that they can to make sure that you are well while you are praying to nothing, but you are getting action from this person that's in front of you. And let's say that this goes on for a long time and you pass and you get healed and you're well. You're walking out of the hospital like a brand new human being. You're feeling fresh, and now you're excited. You ready to go hit the clubs whenever when the clubs were open, because you felt good, right? So you go to church, or you start talking to people, and now you're this miracle person. Now you begin to tell your testimony. Now you are praising the heavens and the gods, right? Now you are hard in a Catholic. Now you are hard in Muslim. Now you are hard in Christian, Buddhist, whatever else. Now you hard in there now. Okay. Jewish, whatever you want to met, just your religion. Now it's to you, it's established to you. It have proven itself by making sure that you are alive and well when others have fallen off of that cliff or fallen into the Grand Canyons in the millions. Right. And yeah, you may give thanks to the doctor, the nurses, the janitor who made sure the floor was clean, who made sure that the doorknob was sanitized, all these people around you that you say, yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, you get paid, whatever. Medicaid, my insurance program. Yeah, the nurse is awesome. Give her a heart and a hug. And, she's an awesome nurse. But you go home and then you sit down in church and you give all your dedication, your energy, your life, and your focus on the fact that you say this is a miracle, right? Okay. Let me show you something. And here comes the red pill. That's what I do because I'm Morpheus. All the while you giving praise to the sky, same as my student, right? You giving praise to the sky. You giving praise to this air. The person who you need to be praising and giving appreciation to is that nurse and that doctor that dedicated their life and their time to help and save you. The one you need to be giving praise to is that firefighter who ran into the fire regardless of his own life and his children at home. And his wife he needs to come home to pull you out of the fire and save you, your cat, your dog, your family, and probably even your child. The one you need to give thanks to is a police officer that got you out of that domestic dispute, whereas you couldn't do it yourself, using the authority and power that's allotted to them to make sure that your life is well and you are breathing here today by any means necessary. But yet we give thanks and praise and we call it a miracle. When you say something's a miracle, I laugh at you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you don't know what started it and you don't know what ended it. All you saying is it was a miracle. Oftentimes, the reason why we are able to heal, the reason why you got the medications, the reason why the doctors are smarter than you, most of them. The reason why you got so many institutions that are there to bring you back and to restitute you, to bring you back to life, to support you, is because there are things that we do in our past life that has been common through generation to generation to generation. So the system of rescue and support has gotten smarter to make sure that they pull you out of the mud should you fall into it. It wasn't a miracle. It's not some mystery. It was preparation because you're not the only one who's been in that situation where it's been practiced. It's been in IU University. It's been in Wesleyan University. It's been Howard University. Okay. It's been around all the colleges, medical colleges. Okay. To study should you get in those situations, to make sure that they create a rope to pull you out of the mud, because there are two things that happen. Either you get pushed into it, either you fall into it because of what happened to your ancestors or your past mom and dad. They didn't live a proper life, so you end up suffering because of their bad mutated genetics. Hello? Meaning you're born with certain illnesses, diseases, and you just born not right, or a malfunction or something like that, or you have a bad birth. Okay, because of them. And if they don't inherit it, somebody in the past have inherited. And of course, I told you about this in one of my audio logs. They missed, some of them dodged, another person ducked, another person jumped in the other room, other ones put up a shield. The other person probably looked at it and I don't know, and dodged, did a matrix move on it. Okay, did a neo back bend. Okay, and it decided to choose your generation. 10 years later, 12 years later, 20 years later, 40 years later. That's how it works, because you are a genetic pattern from your inheritance and ancestors from years past that are gone now, been gone for a long time. It's not going to always be the parents that you have right now. Okay, it's usually the parents of the parents that was the parents of the parents of that parent, and that genetic pattern and inheritance decided to arise in you, or come and attack you. Now it's your time to duck, dodge, and to fight it, while you got tubes in your nose and you're in the hospital. It's not a mystery, because these sciences isn't something that just happened yesterday. The doctors and your nurses, your practitioners, your physicians, those who are sitting around you constantly 24 hours, 7 days a week, that you can go to, that you pay, that you help, that you support, whatever you do. Okay. This isn't their first rodeo. This isn't the first time they've been alive. This isn't their first surgery. They've been doing this for a long time. And oftentimes you've been told, especially by Morpheus, by other people, and definitely my audios that I have available for you, that there are things that you do in your life right now that's going to be hereditary in your genetics. You speak to your genetics. You control your genetics. You manipulate your genetics by what you do, by what you smoke, by what you drink, by what you eat, by your lifestyle. So what ends up happening is you end up creating that mutation that may skip your generation. It may skip you. You may not be hurt from it, but your child's child and that child's child is going to have to suffer for your ignorance. And then what happens is you got people who realize that this is going to happen eventually later on in the generation, or 10 years, 12 years later, or in the 2020s. And now you're suffering and you're asking for God to support you and give you help. But help is already here, not in the form of some ghost standing next to you, but in the form of a human being looking you right in the face. And some of you say, well, it's because of the grace of God that gave him the knowledge. It's the grace of God that laid hands on the doctor. It's the grace of God that, the practitioner, and a psychologist and the person was standing there. Amazing. But you don't understand how it starts from the beginning to the current. We have to stop thinking emotionally, stop thinking illogically, and be science and natural, and understand that there is a trait to be where you are. There is a lineage that have happened way before you that you haven't traced. You don't have the money to chase. You haven't did your hereditary trace. You don't even know what happened to your past ancestors or history. You're just dealing with the current world. And then when something happened, you're like, oh, it's a miracle of God. No, it's that person standing in front of you that's helping you. He or she is the one that deserves your appreciation. Instead of you sitting in the church on your knees, oh, thank you, God. You shouldn't. You need to be in the hospital shaking that nurse's hand and kissing her Crocs at the same time. And thanking that doctor for deciding to choose a career that pretty much saved your life. They deserve your appreciation and your honor, not you going to church putting a crucifix around your throat of someone who is not there standing next to you. The one who's standing there next to you is the one who is administering the help for you. That's the one. That's him. There he is right there in your face. where you can see physically and with action, not with words. So here it is, my friends and family and Neo and little Morpheus is out here in the world in America. Listen carefully. Now your feet is in the bottom of the rabbit hole. Now stand there firmly because you have reached this point. Man is both God and devil. Man uses its free will to either do good or to do evil, to do up or to do down, to escalate or to descend. Okay? To advance, to not advance, to evolve or to de-evolve, and for a lot of them, stay neutral. That's when you're sitting down in the church and you're not going or getting anywhere. That's obvious. All right? This is mankind's world, human world, not God's world. God's world, or you can say your interpretation of the universe or the superior creature's world, was destroyed and is destroyed every day when human or mankind have decided to destroy an entire forest or Greenland to make your highway, to destroy an entire forestry on the side of the road or something like that to create your warehouse. Okay, or destroy an entire 12 acres to create an infrastructure right there. Okay, each time that was nature and God's idea of paradise, which was nature itself. Animals, horses, Greenland, swamp, water, ocean, land that you do not need to put your hands on, that you can feed from, that you can eat from, and that you can definitely survive from. But because human was impatient, because humans wanted to create their own paradise, because Adam and Eve, okay, in your interpretation, I got to use it this way as a teacher, because Adam and Eve, okay, decided they wasn't satisfied with the Garden of Eden, decided to cut all the trees down, decided to destroy everything that God have created and to recreate their interpretation of reality. Therefore, in return, as a superior universal God in your perception have created mankind, that is human. Okay, in return, human or mankind have decided to destroy God and create God in human image, in human interpretation, on human perception. So therefore, you are constantly still looking for that root. You're looking for that superior God. You're looking for who have brought existence into existence. To do that, you're going to have to wipe away what mankind have made. You're going to have to wipe away your deceptions, your perceptions, which is the matrix. You're going to have to get aside, put aside, okay, everything that you have been taught by mankind themselves in order to find the root of what God is. Because I can guarantee you what God is are the perception of the universal creator that have put air and breath in your lungs is not on the human scale. It is not by your books. It is not what your pastor told you. It is not the programming that the human species have decided to implement in your childlike mind. Okay? Therefore, the matrix feed the matrix. A machine creates a machine. All right? That's what it's built for. A machine is only going to create itself. It's not going to create an organic living species and matter out of itself unless that is what it is in its general function. That's why only human can make human, because it's a human creating a human with human understanding, human intelligence, human limitation, human possibilities. All right. So when you wash that away and you get down to the basic foyer, what you are thinking is man. What you are thinking is the programming. What you are thinking is the very fact that you failed somewhere and somewhere that you haven't failed. Okay. It's not all your fault. I understand. Okay. But you're still thinking those who are in front of you and you're trying to reach this invincible entity that you don't have the tools, nor the instincts, nor the spirituality to reach because you're living on mankind's soil. To get there, you need a sense of awareness. To get there, you're going to have to be natural again. To get there, you're going to have to go to the forest. To get there, you got to put aside your technology and computers. To get there, you got to wipe away everything that man made and stand there barefooted in the middle of the earth, of natural God-made earth. And you will hear, you will feel, you will know, you will be one with what your interpretation of God is, what the energy is, what that mystery is. It will come to you. And then when you open up your eyes, you'll see all the infrastructures, building tall skyscrapers, plastic cars, dumb phones that you call smartphones, and all sorts of technology that your people made to create a life that was already created, but was recreated in the image of human, not in the image of God. So you're not giving thanks to God, you're giving thanks to human. Thank you very much for making it this far. I have more for you, and I'm not going to leave you hanging. This is Leon C., aka Morpheus. We are getting better.